Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video in this little mini-series called the 12 Days of Deltarune. Today, we are going to be making a bingo. This bingo board will be for chapters 3 and 4 of Deltarune, and it's going to be theories in all these slots. I'm going to try to put on a full list of theories that might be confirmed or deconfirmed in chapter 3 and 4, and then, we can play along as we play the chapters. I think it'll be fun. And a good way to keep track of everything as it's going on. I have to come up with a free space, which is a little hard. I don't want to just leave it as free space after all. Well, okay. Chris, Knight, Truth. This is one way or another in these chapters, we're going to find out if Chris is the Knight or not. Probably in chapter 3 specifically, but I mean, if chapter 4 happens and Chris doesn't create the Dark Fountain, then I guess that'll also confirm it. But one way or another, we will find this out, so that'll be the free space. Now I have to think of all the other theories. Well, the easiest one is chess theory. Pardon me. Chess theory, I think, is quite strong because King and Queen obviously have the names of chess pieces, but their behavior also kind of seems to be based on chess pieces. The king piece in chess notoriously stays at the end of the board and just kind of waits for the rest of the chess pieces to move. And the queen piece also quite notoriously can move anywhere on the board and is the most powerful piece. I'm not saying that queen is going to be the most powerful boss we face, but rather that she's the most active, like moving all over the world. Of course, though, we've only had 2 chapters, which means this is maybe not a pattern, but just a coincidence. So chapters 3 and 4 will definitely confirm or deny whether chess theory is going to be continuing in this Phantom space or not. What was the other one I was going to say? Oh, yeah. Mayor in chapter 3. This is one of my own kind of personal theories. I don't know if other people believe this or not, to be honest. But my theory is essentially, because of everything we learned about the mayor in Chapter 2 specifically, the fact that the police station is basically useless and all Undyne does is, like, show up. The mayor actually does all the law enforcement in town. That when Toriel called the police department, it was the mayor that actually picked up, and the mayor is going to be arriving at the Dreamer House and entering the Dark World in Chapter 3. And this is mostly based on the cut Sneaking song, which we saw in one of the newsletters, where it has the Lost Girl theme in it, which doesn't really make sense to be playing in Chapter 3 unless there's somebody from the Holiday family there. And it doesn't really make sense for that to be anyone other than the mayor. So, speaking of the Holiday family, Rudy dies. Poor Rudy. I mean, I could see this happening either in Chapter 4 at some point or at the end of Chapter 4, maybe. But I don't know. I kind of feel like he might not, honestly. We'll see. Religion is not the main theme of 4. I talked about this in a couple other videos in this series, but I think religion is just such a broad category to be the overarching theme of a Dark World. And yet, like, I don't know. I guess he could do it. It really seems like an odd thing, specifically because the religion they practice in Hometown is not a real world religion. So it doesn't really have the same impact as us seeing computer ideas or board game ideas translated into characters. So whether it's like arts and crafts or books or holidays or whatever it ends up being, I think the church is going to be the backdrop in the same way the Dreamer House is kind of the backdrop for Chapter 3. Like, Chapter 3 is themed around TV, clearly. But it includes a lot of stuff from the Dreamer House because it's set in the Dreamer House. I think it'll be the same for the Dark World that's pretty clearly coming to the church in Chapter 4, where the actual theme will be something more general, and then religion will be the backdrop. It'll be like the church is where this is all set. Oh, that's a good one. Complete. Oh, I lost the knee. Without issue. This is one of the very recent things we've seen about Chapter 3 having an achievement for completing without issue. And this kind of goes back to a theory that every main character's name is an anagram for some reason. Specifically the new Deltarune characters anyway. Because Ralsei is clearly an anagram of Azrael. And Chris, you can clearly like go to Risk. So then Susie's is issue. So if that's the case, complete without issue, well, there could be a double meaning there, right? Maybe there's something going on in Chapter 3. So we'll see. Here's one that I don't think will happen, but it is pretty popular, which is Tutorial Weird Route. I'm pretty sure the sweepstakes kind of deconfirm this by having Chapter 3 in that section where they had the numbers for Chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 1 and 3 were blacked out, even though 3 actually did have a link to something. It was hidden, which makes me think it's not going to be so obvious as it's just tutorial, you know? It makes me think it'd be something like specific you have to do to leave Susie behind somehow instead, something like that. Anyway, what are other big theories we have going into this? I mean, there's so many, but specifically for Chapters 3 and 4. Oh, here's a good one. Pizza Pants' girlfriend appears. I say this specifically because that one image of him that we got from the newsletters where he's like pointing and he has punch all over his face really makes it like I could definitely see a scene where his girlfriend over the phone that shows him blurry pizza photos shows up and is like actually real, and that's part of the joke, you know? Like we're building on this like, okay, Burger Pants or Pizza Pants, whatever, is clearly getting like tricked, and then nope, she's real. And then it'd be even funnier if it was somebody we already knew, like it was like Bratty or something. Anyway. Wait, actually, we do know that, don't we? Isn't there a line of dialogue from Bratty or Caddy where they say like they're sending Burger Pants images of pizza or something like that? I can't remember. But anyway, it would be funny if they actually like connected anyway, even if that is true what I just said. What else do we have? What's another good one? Oh, well, I have to put it on here. Woody theory. There's no way this is true, but I guess I have to say whether it's true or not. Chess theory debunked. I feel like that's more unlikely to me, but you know. Woody theory real. I really doubt it, but you know. Image _ friend is Mike. It could be. I got a whole video on that in this series if you want to see that in the next like few days before the game comes out. Jockington and Caddy in Chapter 4. Seems fairly likely. We've seen that Jockington graffiti in the Chapter 4 screenshots we have. Oh, that's another good one. Chapter 4 goes darker than dark. We also saw some weird stuff with that in the trailer. You know what? I need to look at some other stuff. I'll be right back. Okay, I have a few more good ones for sure. Papyrus appears. That's a good one I forgot about. Oh god, what was the other thing I was gonna say? Right. Chair theory real. Oops. Now, I'm gonna preface this by saying either of my chair theories now, because I have 2 chair theories. One of the chair theories is that the chair we see in the sweepstakes that like goes darker than dark and then the eyes appear above it was from actually the mayor's office. I don't know if that's going to be true anymore. The second theory is that the chair is actually in reference to chapter 4 in the church. So either of those two locations, I guess. What else is good? Oh, God, what was that? All right, we get Susie backstory. We figure out what's going on with Susie's, like, home life. Well, here's one that I just came up with. Image_friend is a Mad Cat's controller. It's another video in this series. You should watch it. Mysterious Valentine equals Chapter 4 Shopkeep. If you don't know what this is in reference to, there is a line of dialogue that we were given from some translation logs in one of the newsletters that was essentially like, come on by, or come by something, and by was spelled B-Y. And then in the Valentine's newsletter, we got a mysterious newsletter from somebody we'd never met before, that people initially thought was Gaster, and then everybody was pretty sure it wasn't Gaster, that ends the letter with goodbye, B-Y. So essentially saying that's the same character. Oh, here's a good one. Chapter 3 has no shadow crystal. Whoops. I believe this personally just because I don't think Chris is the knight. So I think the shadow crystals are going to show up mostly in the knight's fountains. And chapter 3 will still have a secret boss, but we won't get a shadow crystal from it. Well, okay, let's bet on this. Birdley is actually dead. Technically, we don't know. This is specifically in the weird route, of course. We don't technically know if he's dead or if he's just, like, unconscious or something. So, whether we find that out is still up in the air technically. Oh, goodness. Oh, here's a good one. Cowboy section. Not really canceled. Now I have to put this in quotes because I do think it'll be like, if it is in the game, it'll be called canceled. Like the show will end halfway through and not go to completion, or the segment, however you want to think about it in the frame of a TV Dark World. But I do think it'll still be present in the game a little bit. So this is just essentially saying it's going to be in the game in some form. Chapter 3 theme equals severed partners. So probably the most succinct way I can say that. This was another one of my predictions for Chapter 3, which is that the main sort of driving factor, because Chapter 2's main driving factor was control, right? The Queen is super controlling, Spamton's lost control. And Chris has also lost control, of course. Chapter 3, I think the theme may be because we're going to have Toriel in there, and we've got a lot of images emphasizing Susie and Chris, specifically the one of them in the cowboy outfits, where Susie becomes a sheriff and Chris gains the yellow soul. I think could be implying that the two might have some sort of fight, I guess is the best way to put it, in this chapter that sort of goes along with the themes being explored by the rest of the chapter. Like maybe the main boss used to have a partner somehow, in terms of like they were a buddy cop duo or something, you know. And then obviously Toriel and Asgore probably going to be dealing with that here. Chris is also missing Asriel, so that could be explored here as well. And then the secret boss would be something along those lines too. Okay. Here's one that I forgot from my Chapter 3 predictions video, which is Chapter 3... Oops. WarioWare boss. Basically, my idea is we know that this chapter is going to include a bunch of mini games, essentially, like the Guitar Hero one or the oh god, what was the other one we knew? Mini section where they get the Mafia outfits for the Shadow Guy fight. There's the cowboy outfits. Maybe that was the other one. I just wasn't thinking about it because it later was like, we're not putting the cowboy outfits in. Anyway, we know there's going to be a bunch of mini games in this chapter. So potentially having the final boss be a mashup of all those mini games, and you have to remember the controls and stuff, would be kind of fun. And then something from my Chapter 4 predictions video is that the angel doll from the hospital is the secret boss. I guess I'll put Chapter 4. It doesn't really matter. I do think that would be interesting. It fits in with all the themes that I speculated about in that video. And yeah, I don't know. It'd be kind of fun. It would make sense with the Sky Mantle too, which is an item we found in the game after Chapter 2 was released, which can block electric and holy attacks. So if you get the Sky Mantle somewhere in Chapter 3, or the Shadow Mantle, which we assume is turning into the Sky Mantle at some point somehow, if you get the mantle in Chapter 3, then the Chapter 3 secret boss might use electric attacks, which would make sense for a Mad Catz controller. Maybe it's like sparking or whatever. And then the Chapter 4 secret boss would use holy attacks, which the angel doll would. I haven't actually put in Chapter 4 festival prep. It's my idea that Chapter 4 in the church, we're going to have like the church service during the day at some point, but then the actual prelude to the chapter is going to be getting roped into setting up some sort of event in the church for the upcoming festival, like a dance, for example, based on almost entirely Burger Pants' sprite with him covered in punch and pointing. Like, there's no other place I could see that really making sense, unless like Ices is having a work party for some reason. And what's a good last theory here? Well, I gotta do it. Alvin Knight hints. Hunts? Yeah. I gotta go with my favorite Knight theory. You know, it's just how it works. So anyway, that's my bingo board right now. If you guys in the comments come up with better stuff that you think will happen in Chapter 3 and 4 as a prediction, that's like been a long-standing theory, is really the best stuff. Some of this is like my own theory. Like this one I came up with literally a week ago, but whatever. I think it could be true. Then I might replace some of these, some of the weaker ones. Because we have some like doubling up. Like Image Friend is Mad Catz, Image Friend is Mike, is kind of similar. Religion not the main theme. Chapter 4 is about festival prep, kind of the same idea. Pizza Pants' girlfriend, that's really not important. So if you guys in the comments come up with better stuff before the chapter's release on the 4th, then I will maybe sub some stuff in there. But for now, this is my list. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will enjoy my playthroughs of Chapter 3 and 4, which are coming as soon as possible, as soon as the chapter's release. I am going to be doing it as a standard YouTube video, just so you know. Not a stream. It's what most people wanted when I put it up to opinions, which makes sense. I mean, it's what my wheelhouse is, basically. So I'm going to be releasing a playthrough. I'm going to try to get through it in a good amount of time. I'm not going to make you wait like a month to get to the finale of the 2 chapters. And yeah, after that, it'll be a whole lot of analysis, a whole lot of speculation about what's going on in chapter 3 and 4. And yeah, I'm excited to enter this new era of Deltarune theories. So if you're excited too, leave a like and subscribe. Whoa! And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.